Hello again, gang. KR King here, helping one and all homebrew their own D&D campaign. So today is the third and final video in my series on rivers. Last week I did bridges, and today I'm going to create an encounter map of a bridge, abandoned bridge over a river gorge, which is using some of the ideas I talked about with rivers and bridges that cross them. The idea here is when you're making an encounter map like this is that form should follow function, which is we're going to have a battle in Dungeons and Dragons. So our distances and the difficulty, the obstacles on the bridge itself, since again, the river is that out, you can't cross it. So you need to use the bridge. And then who controls the bridge and what have they done to just prevent people from crossing that? I'm going to try to do this live on Dungeondraft. This may be a disaster because I have a tendency to put all sorts of objects on, but I wanted to show that you can make something useful. I'm not the most artistic person. I'm not the best at Dungeondraft, but it doesn't really matter. It doesn't have to be pretty or super elaborate. It just has to be something that you can use, whether it's virtual tabletop, whether you are going to redraw this for the players on a mat with grease pencil, or as I've said before, even if you're going to do theater of the mind, when you are looking at a map and you know those distances and the players are moving, but you know how far they've gone, how far away things are, what our ranges are, it can be really useful and avoid confusion because they know that they, even if it's all in their head, they're in a real place. So let's dive into Dungeondraft and make a abandoned bridge battle map. All right, I've loaded up Dungeondraft. I am going to start, this is the standard, but I'm going to make this a little bigger. I'm going to go 75 by 50, just a little bit bigger, give me some more room without getting too crazy and using up too much memory. So it loads up various assets that I've gotten. So there we go, I have our basic map. Obviously this river is to go over a gorge with a river, so the first thing I'm going to do is create that river down here. Here I was like trying to go fast. Okay. And then what you do is this river, you have to have some maybe a little fractal, rivers aren't even. And so we go like this. See that there's a little bit of a lag there because of the computer trying to figure out what are the. That's why you always want to use geometric shapes when you first make it because they go really quickly. All right, so there we go. Let's see. And we'll just have that go in. You can also, if you've got the patience, use the smaller one. And you can get sort of a, much rougher edge. I guess that's not too bad. Okay. All right. And then what I'm going to do is I want to have this bridge over this river. I want to make this river a gorge. So I'm going to use my path tool. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to pick one of these, which I think, not that, maybe this one. And I'm going to, let's make that like 2.99. And I'm going to make a cliff face up here that represents the top of this gorge to the bottom. And the width here, I don't know what it would work out to a cartographer. I'm just going to say, you could make this 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever you wanted, because it's just how steep that is. The idea here, though, is, and I'm going to create a little beach area, as you'll see here. Sometimes I go right up to the water with this. And sometimes you can go and create a little beach. All right. And do I want more? Since I'm in the mountains, I'm just going to, while I've got this path tool, I'll create some additional and that's going to be, I think, where my river is. That's where the, okay. And I'll do the same here for this. The players are going to come in here, and these are all higher elevations. All right. Next, what I want to do is establishing that this is this beach down here, differentiate that. I'm going to use my object tool. I'm just going to say rocks. And I'm going to pick one of these rocks here. And I'm going to go up here. And I'm going to turn my snap off so I can put these anywhere. And I'm just going to scatter some rocks. I can make those smaller or bigger. This is the kind of thing that is your most time-consuming thing. Take a different rock. And finally this guy. Right. Okay. Then I'm going to take this and I'm going to use the scatter thing. And I'm going to say this sort of, now the initial one is going to be like that. But after that, let's see, let's have that scale. And then I'm going to do a very fast spread. All right, and then I'm just going to this represents all the rocks tossed up by the river. Okay. All right, once I have that, I can then use my pick tool here and I can grab a bunch of these, Control CV, and I've got another set here that I can put. You can grab this amount and you can put this in here. Again, grab that, put that here, and you can just basically go right down your river and build this up. I'm just going to put these in the spots where they fit clearly. That one's going to be a little bit smaller, maybe. Let's see. And if I go like this, let's see, and I can just grab little bits. And the idea, I'm trying to do this quick. I just like the look of this, but you don't have to have it here. I was talking about form over function. But of course, once I get going, I cannot help myself. Control CV. I just like the idea of, and then just move these into position. Just grab whatever you want. You can move it around. Control CV. Let's see here. B. And then just move these down a little bit. Okay, move those down. All right. We'll say CV. That guy here, let's say. All right. I'll be able to grab that. Okay. And let's see here. CV. So, ordinarily when making this, I would speed this process up. And I still might. I just like the look, having this functionality. I just think it's cool. Maybe I'm crazy here, but I just like it. can just fit those in wherever you want. They've fallen into from the top of the cliff, or they've washed up from the water. Okay. And one last. And another thing that you can do with this kind of technique, the thing about Dungeondraft is it doesn't show rushing water, really. This is supposed to be rushing water. So what you can do is create areas on here where you remove a little bit, right? And then you go down to here and you put some boulders there, okay? And maybe you just want those boulders to be, where there's, okay? And move those in like so. And then you can go to your terrain and put some gravel in there, right? And that's a spot where the water is, in theory, rushing through, okay? And you can make a bunch of those. However you, see, now that's a bug in the system. All right, that's interesting. I've noticed that before where, whoops, that's not what I want to do. Where it does that, it's real irritating. All right. All right, so this is the basic idea behind this. So this is going to be the area where we're going to make our bridge. And just because I'm doing this, this is what happens to me, so excuse me, I'm just going to make another one of these. Now this I may have this bug where it doesn't show up, see? So I have to go over here, like so. And then again, sometimes why that happens, I do not know. All right. It's irritating. And I'm going to be able to do this for my bridge. And so it's going to really bug me. One interesting thing that you could do, now that I think about this, right? You could kind of put these, they're truly sort of submerged rocks. All right. So now we're going to make our bridge. And again, I would come up here. Now, of course, I can't resist. First of all, I'm going to blend the terrain, and then I'm going to, another thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put gravel along here, everywhere next to the water, right? This has all come from, and so it just gives it that little bit of extra realism. All right. And then out in here, I already did that one. Each of those now has gravel around it. Okay. So now we're pretty much, again, as I mentioned, I would unlock 4 more slots. And you could change, you could make this rocky up here. If we look, the higher elevation just to differentiate that, if you want. And I haven't put any vegetation in. There'd be some, especially around the water. Another thing that can be humorous to put is put some bones down in the, in the thing. You can make that bigger if you want. Piles of things that have, especially near the bridge or whatever. Let's see here. Is that more identifiable as a person? I don't know, just scatter out some bones and stuff there if you want. there's a nice pile. Someone is falling to their doom. Okay. And any other refuse that you want, you can put in there. It kind of looks cool. I would also scatter my gravel at the base. Oops. Is that gravel? Looks weird. I'll make that a little smaller. Stuff that's fallen down from the top of this cliff. And I would also probably put plants in, but I'm just resisting because I want to get to my bridge. All right, so there's our basic map. Got our distances. We're going to put a bridge right in here. This is the crossing point, and if you want to establish that even further, you can put a trail in here. This is where people are going to walk, right? This is going to be the gathering place for the bridge. This is going to be a ruined bridge, as I mentioned, so the people that built this go back and forth. That's really, why is the intensity no good there? There we go. All right. Now we're ready to start our bridge. Finally, someone might be saying. And objects, they have bridges if you search for bridge, but they're kind of, I mean, the standard bridge like this, you can make it big. It's just not very impressive, especially for an arched bridge. They have this wider one, but again, I don't know. Again, if you're just trying to go fast and you're just trying to get it ready for your players, I just can't help myself. And I like to make something a little nicer. So what I'm going to do, which you can often do in Dungeondraft when you're creating something, is to use something else. Okay, so we go down and I'm going to use these dungeon tiles that are in here right here. And I'm going to use these. So for instance, I have this. This is I guess it's technically a wall stone. I'm going to use this as my guardrail. So how big should that guardrail be? Well, I would say maybe like that, something like that. It's about 3 feet, maybe a little smaller. And I'm going to start this like this. And I'm just going to come down. And one way to do this, of course, is to copy, but you make sure you don't copy. So you go in here and you say, oh, I'll just copy this bridge. Well, look at all the other stuff you've got. You don't want to do that. You can copy out here and say, right, and go like that. Oops. And then come in here, maybe start up here. Which that's our width. What's our width going to be? Let's see. 10, 20, 30 wide. What's that? Okay. And you can just there's another one. And then this one here. Take that one, go like that. That one, oops, go like so. And do it again and break that up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to about there. There we go. Okay. So there is our railing. There's our bridge. Now it's going to be a little changed because it's a ruined bridge. But I just wanted to get that basic outline there. I'm also going to have arches. And I'm going to have arches at about every 50 feet. And how I'm going to denote those, I have to have something. I saw something here that kind of looked cool. This is a metal lamp. But I thought, hey, let's use that as kind of the, you know, they'll sit on the tops of the arches. So we're going to go 50 feet, I say, from where we lose support, which is pretty much, we'll say 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 starts it. So that's really going to be a little bit back like that, and maybe like that. $10, $20, $30, $40, $50 is the center of that, like so. Now here's the thing: it's form over function here. How close? Because you've got a lot more gap in there. So you could, instead of having 3 arches, one thing to do would be to make those wider. So just, oops, that's not what I wanted to do. Control Z, I want that to just be maybe like that. And maybe like that. You know? There we go. Okay. And those are pretty accurate. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to make the stones for this. It's a stone bridge. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to start this in the middle. Maybe I'll start it right here on an archway, because I know I'm going to keep that, because the bridge is going to have been, you know, ruined. Parts of it are collapsed, and it's probably not going to collapse over the archways as much as, you know, at the maybe out in the center here, if this is an arch and this is an arch here, something like that. Maybe, let's see, yeah, this is for sure. I'm going to think about that, because maybe I move that. Well, let's just see here. See, this is the thing. When you're trying to do this live, as it were, you run into trouble. Oops. Let's see. Where is there they are. So these are stones to use in, you know, dungeon construction. And what I'm going to do is I will create this and just sort of come around like so. And you can really get in trouble when and I'm doing this very quickly here. See, I've already run into a problem, but let me just, with this, all right, I'm going to unzip that. And in fact, maybe I'll just do it this way. I'll just go like this, this. I can't help but like these little guys, but they get me in trouble. See that? I can build that up a little bit. I'm going to run into trouble, I guarantee you. Yep, I'm going to be uneven. But there's tricks I've learned doing this. Okay. What you can do, they have these little end pieces, and you can come in there and you can just add an end piece there. And then you can take this, right, and go sort of like that. See, I don't like the symmetry of that as much. So let's see here. Could I? Yeah, I'll just cheat, I guess. All right, so now we've got a section here that we can also copy, right? So how much area, oh, and it didn't copy the whole thing. So Control Z. Let's try that again. You got to get so dang close. There we go. All right. So I'm going to have that center piece off. And if you want to, you know, vary the look on it, right? And this is going to be in the center of that. Okay. And we'll put one, say, here. Okay, and notice, you know, if you like, fill those. I don't know. See, what happens is it starts to get uneven down here. And as I build the bridge, of course, I want to make that, you know, more around there. All right. Now, you could just fill this, of course, in, but this is an abandoned bridge. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that parts of the bridge have fallen off. So I'm just going to take, oops, it's not. That's still pretty close to the central. Let's turn that, why don't we? Like so. Let me get out of here. Okay, so those have collapsed. And what we're going to do, I don't think that'll look good down. No, it'll look like it's a piece of the bridge, so I'm not going to use that. And here too, I would have maybe I will take and go like that, because it is on the center. No, just one. Where do I got one? Of course, that, why would that one? Well, it's very loose on there. Okay. So let's say, and then I'm going to take, and I'm going to show the areas where that has collapsed. Right, and I'm going to just go, and I have to go out here because that's, for some reason, does that. And I will put some rubble there. So maybe something like that. I don't know, I don't like, that's okay, I guess. And then put some rocks in there. Scatter those around. Like so. Put some rubble, or, you know, right? And that's below that, so that it looks like, you know, that collapse. And maybe just some more of those. I wish they were paintable. That would be cool. What does that look like in there? You know, it gets a little busy too, I guess, but okay. And the same thing is going to happen here, where we have a little bit of a water removal. All right, and then I'm going to put that water back there. I don't quite know why that is, but it is. And again, object tool, some stonework that's fallen. See, if you put these blocks, I feel like it's gonna look weird because it's happened hundreds of years ago, right? And then, okay, we go like this, and a little bit of gravel. All right. So now our bridge. Oops, I forgot to make the bridge up there. Smooth move. All right, no problem. And I have an opportunity for a third collapse, right? Maybe, see that I wanted it to be more on the spire. No, I want to leave that. What do we got here? Oops. So we'll just get rid of that. Okay. And again, just to be consistent, there'll be a little bit of, right, and a little bit of our objects. Where they've fallen. It's been smashed. And it's cool because it exposes our skeleton a little bit. I could grab that guy and just move him over. He fell through the open bridge. All right, so these gaps here are, if we look, 15 feet right there. This one goes 15 here. And this one is even more severe. How did you could, oh, and then the other thing you can do, of course, is you can get rid of the railing. It has collapsed. Right? Unless you wanted to leave one railing, you know, along here that someone could go along this thing. It's up to you. I'll leave that one there, I suppose. So how do whoever is controlling this bridge, how do they cross this? Well, they would put up, let's see here. They put things across it. So you could have this as simple as a plank or something. You know, you can just put a plank there like that. That's a trough, but no one's going to know, right? You could do something like that. Okay, that's kind of cool. Maybe we'll do that. So they've made these crude planks across here. Since I'm going to put 2 of those on there. And, you know, how stable is that? And you could have another one here. Right? And down here. Let's say here to here. Now, depending on who is using this, is going to depend on how strong that is. So if it's something like goblins or, you know, kobolds or something, it's not going to be necessarily going to be as strong as if it's bugbears or something like that. You have to decide that. The other thing that I would have here is, let's see. Where is military? Well, and of course, if you really wanted to have, you know, a ballista up here type thing, you know, depending on, because this bridge is the crossing point. So you could put a pair of ballistas. That's going to be a much bigger force. What I was thinking is this sort of thing where you have barriers set up, right, across this bridge at these points so that things could use that, you know, to prevent someone from crossing. So you could have something like across here, right? And these could be, you know, turned and opened for those that they want to cross and taken away from those that they don't want to cross. And you could have one here as well. Okay, now that bridge is defensible here. And again, you can have archers and stuff up on these high bluffs. You could set up there are boulders. Oops. You could set up a little rock thing here. People hiding behind these rocks. Same here. They've gathered these together. Big boulders in here. You could even have like a wall of rocks or something like that, so multiple creatures to hide behind. And then you've got, you know, do I have my tokens loaded? I don't know. Let's see. All. I don't know if I have. Oh, yeah, there we go. Little goblins. You know, sitting behind the, hello, hey, you know, waiting. And so forth, right? And they're, you know, up here, who are we running them? There's some Ettins. Do I have, you know, these tokens there? I haven't loaded them all. That's a were-rat. They don't have a, that's a spike. Of course, that could be living under the bridge. But obviously, let's just, it's not a dwarf with, he's not going to run goblins. All right. Super smart Ettin up here directing traffic. That's ludicrous, but you see what I'm saying. If I had a hobgoblin token up here, I have a captain down here, and this is formidable. These guys have cover, right? They can shoot, and these, they might have ropes on these when if someone tries to cross, they pull those off such that now you're stuck on the bridge, right? Again, this has got, it's cool. You can put things on here, whatever you want. You've got cover. The players have to figure out their way across it. Maybe they go behind or whatever, fly someone over or whatever. But what we've got is where form is following function with our river being across. The players have to come through here, these elevations, and go up to here on whatever mission that they're on. And these, whatever is controlling this has areas where they can, attack the players or do whatever. So that's the beauty of this. And you don't have to put as much effort into stuff, like this that I had. You can just make this. Again, this is something, when you think about it, you can draw on paper. You can do this. You draw this out and then run it theater of the mind if you want, knowing that the players, where is it to the first wooden thing they put on there? It's 10, 20, 30 feet on. They've got to do this, 5, 10, 15, 20 across there. This gives you that visual representation to help you run your battles. So there you have it, a useful map done in somewhat reasonable time. Again, I went a little bit overboard as always. Hopefully the lessons there in terms of letting the form follow the function, which is a battle map to be used in D&D, not worrying about how pretty it is or anything else, serves you in creating your own encounters. And if you like the content on my channel, please subscribe. Always looking for more. Please leave some comments. I love to read them and respond. Most importantly, keep playing D&D and tell somebody else about it.